Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Talk to Rami. This is Rami, your host. Today, I am sitting with Nicki Bontrager. You got a great last name.
Thank you.
Nicki, she's from Howdy, Liberty Hill. Liberty Hill, you got to know about this city as in Texas, above Leander, I believe, and she's kind of community leader, but she doesn't know it. She connects people in the community, and that's very rewarding these days. And we're gonna hear her story, and we're gonna hear what she's up to. Nicki, welcome to the show.
Hello, thank you for having me. I feel very honored and special to be here with you, Rami.
Yeah, thank you for being here. When did you move to Liberty? Where is the Liberty? A lot of listeners and viewers, they don't know.
Yeah.
Because it's a very small city, but it's growing very fast, and a lot of people are moving to Liberty Hill.
Absolutely, yes. It's a very small town. It is west of Georgetown and north of Leander, right off Highway 183. And when we bought land 8 years ago, it was a tiny blip of a town. There wasn't hardly anything there. The population was 967 on the sign. And now it's thousands and thousands of people. I think the last report I heard was there's about 300 people a day moving to Liberty Hill.
300 people a day?
That's what I heard. That's right. It's growing
They do have
really
enough
fast.
land?
Well, most of us are in the ETJ, so like actual Liberty Hill city limits is very small. It's just right around the two major roads, but most of us live out in the ETJ. So we have Liberty Hill services, but we're not like actual city. So it'll probably expand that someday.
And what is your background? How did you start being in the community?
So my professional background, I'm actually a counselor. I'm a licensed professional counselor. And so I love talking to people and helping people. I did journalism in college and in high school. And so when we decided to move out to Liberty Hill, I knew that it was going to be a very small, close-knit community. And I just wanted to soak it up. I wanted to know everybody and everything and the stories and all the places because I knew the city was growing. And so I thought if I put myself out there and just start meeting people and hearing stories, then I can soak up that small town goodness before it gets too big. So even before we moved, I was planning Howdy Liberty Hill. I had the social media picked out. I had the name picked out. I had a T-shirt design picked out. And I was just waiting to officially be a resident before I went out and started meeting people.
My question for you is this. I know your job is very rewarding. You're in a community. But why did you decide to get to know people? Because these days, a lot of people, they stay away from other people.
Yeah.
They don't want to spend time to get to know them. And this is kind of sad, be honest with you, because we all individuals and we all have great talents that we can contribute to our community and to our society. But if we don't connect with people, we don't know it. And somebody has to start it, which that would be you in Liberty. Why did you decide to connect with people? Are you like a connector? Are you like a social person? You just want to do it for fun?
Yes, to all of those. For me, it's really fun. I love talking to people and getting to know people. I love striking up conversations with people at the grocery store. I know, and probably coming out of COVID could have been a contributing factor to it. When you're an extrovert and social person, lockdowns are really, really, really hard. And so we moved to Liberty Hill when all that stuff was over. COVID was long gone. But I wanted to know everybody and their stories, and I wanted to share that because I feel like everybody has a story. Everybody has something that they could offer. Yes, exactly. Everyone has a could share, or a talent or a skill. And as a counselor for a long time, I've always shared an office with other counselors. Someday I'll have my own. But right now my practice is really small, so I just share offices with other people. And so I've always thought when I have my own office for counseling someday, I want to have a wall of just people holding hands, because everyone has a story. Every marriage has a story. Everybody has something to offer. And so I was like, if I ever write a book someday, it would just be people's stories, and I would just get some random person off the street and be like, hey, let's write a book about you. Tell me your life story. I've never done that, but I think everyone has something to contribute. And so How Do You Liberty Heal is my small way of not only bringing the community together, but helping people feel worthwhile and special, that they have value to offer. And even if they have a mundane, routine life, there's something exciting and special that they can share with other people. So I hope that comes across in How Do You Liberty Heal.
Yeah, you just kind of mentioned something while you were explaining it, that you kind of replicating my talk show.
But when I heard about this, it's like, hey, that's like what I want to do someday.
Because
not talk show
yeah.
style, but just telling people stories.
Exactly, because I'm exactly the same page as you are.
Yeah.
And my kind of, the way I think is kind of aligned with yours, because I believe everyone has a story. And I believe we can tell people's stories, and somebody watches, somebody listens to it, they're going to learn something. And we just need to change one person's life. And then we did our job.
Yeah.
And I believe, as you said, that every person on the street, on this planet, they got a story. It doesn't matter if you are important or not important. You got something to share. You went through some harsh times or the good times that you can share, and people, they can learn. And therefore, you can bond with the other people.
Yeah.
This is my whole, actually, this whole talk show, this whole podcast is about that. That's why I interview people. I talk to people. But you taking it to the next level, actually, you're working in the community, and you're trying to bring the community together through storytelling.
Yeah.
That's very powerful.
And it's so fun because when I can, like depending on what their job is, sometimes I can join them in their job to show what they do. And it's, my husband jokes, I'm like a combination of Mike Rowe from Dirty Jobs and Chet that does all the day tripping shows around Austin. So I got interviewed. He was a window cleaner, and I'm like, hey, can I wash windows with you? And he was like, sure. So I spent like an hour and I helped him wash windows around one of our restaurants, and then got to hear his story.
Oh my God.
I've made cookies with people. I've made hot sauce with people. The hot sauce guy was an Army veteran, or I don't know if it was Army, some branch of the military. He was a veteran that used to make hot sauce in the barracks bathrooms to make the, like the standard issue Army food taste better. And people loved it so much that he kept making it. And now he has a whole business where he sells this hot sauce. I've gotten to do a dental scan. It's fun to jump in with people and show this is what you do and this is what you're trained and you're skilled at. And if you teach it to me or let me show, it highlights your talents even better. And so I love not only telling their story, but joining with them to try to show what they do. Plumbers and massage therapists and all sorts of people. Everyone has something they can contribute back to society. It's just fun. I love it.
Oh my God, that's amazing. And you are a mother of 5 beautiful children.
Yes.
And how you manage that?
Sometimes they come with me. The howdy stuff slows down a little bit in the summer because I want to be home with them and not have that mom guilt.
How old are
all
they?
the time. My youngest is 5 and my oldest is 12. So I have one. She's going to have a birthday next week. So if we include that birthday in, then they are 12, 10, 8, 7, and 5. So they're all packed in real close. My oldest was still just 6 when the youngest was born. And some people were like, how can you have 5 kids when the oldest is only 6? I was like, the math, it works. They fit. But they're fun.
Yeah, being a mother is a full-time job, especially what you're trying to do. And I'm sure your husband is very supportive.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
What he does?
He does sales. Him and his best friend started a company 15, 16 years ago, and it just took off. And so they've got a sales company with a few hundred employees now.
Sales of what?
They do lead generation for tech companies. They do a bunch of different things. So the main bulk of the business is they help set up meetings for other sales companies to sell their products, but they also do Salesforce training and a handful of other marketing aspects. They can do wholesale. They do a bunch of different things. But it's been fun to watch their company grow. For when we first met, there were like 10 of them, and now there's a few hundred, and it's been fun to watch him on that
they're based
journey.
in Liberty Hill too?
No, they're based in Austin.
Oh, okay. He communicated that.
Yeah.
Okay, that's... What is the plan for, because the way you're talking about, your effort and what you're trying to do with the community is a long plan. And because the population is growing, Therefore, you require more hustling and go out there because as community grows, you're going to grow. And
Yeah.
the more people coming, you got to get to know more people.
Yeah.
And Liberty Hill, right now, a lot of people, they're moving from even Austin,
Yeah.
from Leander to Liberty Hill because
Yeah.
of the land, because of the population. It's a
Our
beautiful
schools
thing.
are great.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the schools are great and everything else. And, what is your plan is to bring and centralize this community?
Oh, I have
What ideas?
I have so many plans. Like I said, just bringing people together is my goal. And Liberty Hills community was really small for the last, 150 years. And so as it grows, I'd like to see some of those traditions of everyone coming together and helping and getting to know their stay. So whatever I can do to help that would be my eventual goal. So if all the stars aligned, all my dreams would come true. I would love to host events with the city or host events with other businesses and have like a citywide lip sync battle contest or a citywide marathon run or citywide play dates. I tried to do last week and we got the weather. I think
It's hot.
Well, and I think we had a freeze. We had some kind of storms coming in, so we had to cancel it. But we were trying to put together a howdy week. And so each day of the week, we were going to rotate through different parks and different school parks around the city so that moms with kids could come and you could get to know people. And so we had it broken up into different age groups. And like a few days before howdy week was supposed to start, we had to cancel it because we must have had some kind of bad weather coming in. But I would love to do just events like that where moms can get together or dads can get together or businesses can get together and network and just be a way where people can get together. We have an international sculpture garden in Liberty Hill, of all places.
Wow.
And there's sculptures from all over the world that have been there for 30, 40 years. And so just last week I was like, oh, I should just put out there whatever moms want to come by, like bring your Play-Doh or bring some clay. And maybe when the weather cools off a little bit, we can just sit out in the sculpture gardens and the kids can make little Play-Doh sculptures and the moms can talk and you can form relationships with people and form friendships. Some of those ideas I think have come from my counseling background because I see a lot of moms.
And you were counseling with the kids?
Well, I do counsel with adults, not kids. But I see a lot of moms as clients who feel lonely or isolated. And so I, encourage them like, hey, well, is there a Facebook group you can join or a church group you can join or a neighborhood group? And sometimes having a mom, having little kids as a mom can feel really lonely, especially if you move to a brand new place. And so if I can put on events and be opening and welcoming so that moms or dads with little kids have a place to go and get to know people and make friends and not feel so alone, I mean, that would make my heart happy. So the eventual goal with Howdy Liberty Hill is for me to know people, but also for the community to have events and things that they can do.
When you were growing up, how was your family, your household culture like?
Oh, we got along like a normal, typical family. I'm sure we had our sibling spats and whatnot and our rebellious teenagers, but for the most part, we all got along really well. And we still talk on the phone.
You were
we still see each other.
Communicating because a lot of stuff you say comes with the way you grow up.
Yeah. My mom was always really good about inviting people over, welcoming people over. That's what it is. All my social stuff I get from my mom. The rest of my side I get from my dad. But we always had friends over. Even after we left for college, people would still stop by. And my mom would go for walks with my friends and be like, oh, so-and-so's talking about this or going through this. And it was one of the very good qualities about my mom.
Why did you decide to be a counselor?
That's kind of a funny story.
No, we love his stories because everyone has a story.
So when I was in high school, I did an engineering camp at the Johnson Space Center.
Wow.
And
smart cookie.
I wanted to work for NASA. I had one friend from that camp who eventually did go into aerospace engineering and hopefully has a job at NASA now. But I loved it. I wanted to do space. I wanted to work for NASA. And so when I applied to college, my original idea was to be an engineer. And I very quickly realized I could care less about engineering. I didn't want to learn to weld. I didn't want to do any of those things to be an engineer. And so before I was picking classes for my second year of college, because first you get all the basics out of the way, I had a conversation with my dad. And so he's like, take a circle and write down in the circle everything that you could possibly ever want to do. And so I fill that circle of all the, I want to have a bakery. I want to study volcanoes. I want to do this. I could do psychology. I could be a speech therapist. I could go to NASA, all the things. And then he said, make another bubble with everything that you want to do with your goals to be a wife and a mother someday. He's like, so I know you want to do that someday. So what could you do in that realm? And I was like, oh, well, that gets a little trickier. And so there were only a couple of options I felt like that would allow me to reach those goals. I wasn't married at this point in time, just, someday. And so when you put the two bubbles together, there were only a couple of things that overlapped that were in each bubble. And so it was speech therapy, which my college didn't offer, so I couldn't do that one, or psychology or geology. And so I was like, geology would still let me work for NASA. I could potentially, they would take me to Mars someday and I could study rocks in geology. But I thought maybe it would work better if I did psychology and I was a clinical psychologist that worked with the astronauts to make sure that they were ready for space travel and they would like me so much they would take me with them to Mars.
Wow.
And that was my plan in switching to psychology. I'd taken a random psychology class in high school. And so I switched like full force to psychology with still the goal to work at NASA and still go to Mars, but just in a different way. And one of my random electives in psychology was counseling psychology instead of clinical psychology. And I loved that class and the teacher and when you get all technical with it, like counseling comes from a wellness background, psychology comes from a medical background, and they overlap a lot, but where they're different, the counseling just fit my personality better. And so instead of going to clinical psych, I did my graduate studies and master's degree in counseling instead. And so I've been practicing as counseling since 2011, and I've had my own practice for about 7 years now.
You're still practicing?
Mm-hmm. Still
and what kind of counseling you do? Marriage, divorce?
So adults and couples and teenagers, so 12 and up. I don't work with kids, but I see all kinds of, depression, anxiety is like every counselor's bread and butter. And then, you see a handful of other personality disorders or abuse cases or phobias and adjustment disorders and other things. But I love it. I really love being a counselor and helping people. And I'm sure that's kind of what inspired a little bit of How to Liberty Hill is helping people and getting to know people and sharing stories and letting people know that they're worthwhile.
Your counseling background, I think, is going to add a lot of value to the community because you can, talk to people, get to know them, and, kind of feel their pain and sufferings too, and kind of connect with them. But for your practice right now as a counselor, what is the common denominator for all these people? Do you know anything like?
Common denominator? Have to be a little more specific.
Like, for example, you see a lot of people, they come and ask you for advice. What are all of us, we have something, and I know what it is.
People want to be happy. They want to feel joy. The name of my counseling practice is Joyful Family Counseling because I feel like there's a difference between happiness and joy. That happiness is fleeting, it's more temporary, but joy is eternal. Like joy is that fulfillment and that completion that it is much longer lasting. And so I love the word joy. I think that's a great one. But I think people, whether they're going through a hard time or marriage conflict or struggling with siblings or careers, people they want to feel happy. They want to come home at the end of the day and just feel at peace and be happy. And so counseling, we set goals and, we work through the mental health process and therapeutic things to help them get to that point. But I think people just want to be happy.
Well, who can make us happy?
Ourselves. We have to do it.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
I believe that the key to happiness is in our own pocket.
Yeah.
Like we are the people we can make our happy. I can be miserable, make myself miserable. I can be happy. For example, if you're in a very toxic relationship, you can't be in it and pray or wish or wishful thinking that everything's going to be okay, or it might be, but you do your best. As you do counseling. I got divorced. I had divorce. That's what I'm asking.
Yeah.
I have stepkids. I got my kid. I went through all that. Trust me. But sometimes you get to the point that there are two different people.
Yeah.
And not working. There's two different people, different philosophy, different vision, different style of communication. Not every person is bad, but you get to the point that it says, what is important for me with my lifespan, that I'm going to have another 30 days, 40 years. Am I going to be enjoying my life, as you said, joy, or I'm going to be happy, or I'm just going to keep go through this?
Yeah.
And that's what I guess the people, they don't understand, that you understand that when you understand yourself.
Yeah.
Like, you got to know who you are.
Yeah.
If you don't understand who you are, even the Jesus cannot help you.
Yeah. And there's a scripture I love that says, we can act or be acted upon.
Yes.
And
amen.
And so in my style of counseling, it's solution focused therapy, but I try to encourage people. It's like, I'm not the expert in your life. I can help you think about things in a different way or give you different perspectives, but at the end of the day, you have to act on this. Like, I can't write your goals for you. I can't write you a prescription, say, if you do X, Y, Z, you'll reach your goals. Like, you have to go out and you have to do it. And so I work with them to help them figure out where they want to be and what they want their goals to be and the little steps they can achieve to get there. And it's a really fulfilling process as a counselor to see people reach their goals and to come in at some point in the future and be like, today was a good week and this went well and this went well, or my boss said this and I knew how to respond, or my kids did this and I knew how to respond, and they feel happy and you just see them glow and light up, and it's a very fulfilling job most of the time.
Most of the time. That's what I was going to ask you, because, sometimes when you work as a counselor, it would get under your skin too.
Yeah.
It's the environment, believe it or not, it's the environment. Like, I can never, ever be a doctor, or I tried, just go to the hospital. I feel I'm sick.
Yeah.
I don't know. Some of my friends, I had the choice to go to medical school or go to, I can't do it. I got to be with people. I got to be out there. I got to be in the happy environment.
Yeah.
I got to enjoy my life, but it would get you. And I want to know, have you ever had that experience that, based on maybe one case or something, you get too involved, or it's just kind of get under your skin and you pulled yourself back and said, okay, Nicki, step back.
Yeah.
Look at it. It's okay. You got to do something.
There's some. That's why I don't work with kids. It hits too close to home.
Because you're a mother of
because
5 kids.
I have little kids. So before we had kids, we used to always watch Law and Order SVU because it was on at night, and so we'd always watch that. And after we had kids, I'm like, I can't watch this anymore because it's kids and it's kids getting hurt. So I don't work with the kids. I did quite a few years working with abuse cases or in different abuse shelters, and it was okay for me. It was really hard on my husband, because he's like, I don't want you to have a client that's going to get mad at you or follow you home or hurt you at some point in time. And so when I started my own private practice and I wasn't working for nonprofits anymore, he was like, please don't work with abusive couples anymore, because it was hard for him he was worried that I would get home safe. And so there's a couple of things that I try not to do now if I can help it, kids or abusive couples. Maybe, and that could change someday when my kids grow up or, things change. But it is nice to have my own practice and kind of run it the way that I want to and work it through. Does that answer?
Yes, absolutely. But, you're right. You don't put yourself in that kind of situation, because, the counseling is very fascinating. It's very fascinating, like a job. And, you go through a lot, and then now you bring in all that knowledge to the community.
Yeah.
And, basically now you're counseling the whole community, but for free.
kind of, yeah.
Yeah.
Just like, let's spread joy. Let's get to know each other. Let's form friendships. Like, people need that sense of connection. And, we have a lot of boutiques in town that do events, and they do a great job of, they'll bring in food or vendors or specials. And so I'm like, my goal is to help you advertise so people get there. People know that you're here. People know you're doing an event, so that they can feel important and valued. Like, all right, through this event, and people came, because that feels good. And then people can go and have a good time and get to know people, and then they can feel good. And so bringing people together and helping them feel worthwhile and valued and special, it's very fun. So yes, I guess counts in the city for free. I just help for free.
Yeah. That's actually. Do you have any like a situation, or did you have any situation that you start talking to people in the community and say, hey, what do you do? And then, oh, I'm a counselor. Oh, can I see you?
Not yet.
Because you
haven't had
talk
that
to a lot
situation
of
yet.
people.
Yeah.
And they open up to you because you are that kind of character. Be honest with you, I get that energy. I'm a very big fan of the energy. And I get that energy that is easy to open up to you.
Oh, good. I'm glad you feel comfortable.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. You have that positive and attractive energy that people they want to talk to you about their pain, happiness, joy, whatever. But when you go to community and you apply that,
Yeah.
and you go out there and you put that energy out there, some people they will receive it and they're gonna come talk to you.
Yeah.
And then when they know that you are a counselor, they say, "Oh, can I see you?"
Maybe someday, but it hasn't happened yet. So I guess we'll fight that battle when we get there, because there's different ethical rules about you can't work with friends and family and things. So my husband jokes like, you're gonna make so many friends you won't be able to have any counseling clients because everyone's gonna be a friend. Like, the city's growing. There'll always be new people I haven't become friends with yet. And it's different in my How Do You Liberty Heal interviews. I want to know their story, but whatever we talk about, I have to fit into a social media post. And Instagram, Facebook, they only give you so much space. And so it's happens pretty often that I'll get to know their story, and then I have a really hard time trying to fit it into that little box of what I can share on social media, until I'll do a post or two or sometimes three, just trying to get the full picture of who they are.
You have a website, right?
Not a website. It's just Facebook and Instagram.
You should do a website. Because that would be centralized.
It would give more info, yeah. Maybe someday.
Yeah, it would be kind of, this is, based on my feedback, that would be a centralized hub for you, that people that go, it would be the city information.
Yeah.
They can do that. Even though, that you got a Chamber of Commerce, you got this, you got that, you got City Hall, but people, they always look for the sources they can trust and unbiased ideas and, reviews and everything else. And you can host a lot of your stuff on that.
That's true. Maybe someday, yeah. As it grows and it gets bigger. Right now, my big focus, I think, is just trying to reach more people. Because the more, and it sounds so petty, but it's like the more followers you have, like the more people that know what's going on. And then it's the more people that you can help and share events to and share stories to. And so I think our population is almost 7,000. It's probably more. I don't even know. I'd have to look at the last census. And I was like, I've got almost 1 in 7. It's like, I'm getting there. Like, I'll just keep growing until eventually I, know everybody in Liberty Hill is following. And then I have that bigger reach and I can share those stories and share more with, maybe then a website would be a good idea.
Yeah, but, as the community is growing, there's a lot of other stuff is happening. And, there are more stuff, more, tourism, more attraction, all that stuff. But how about the city official? Are they helping?
Yeah. Oh, they're wonderful.
Really?
They're
They're like
absolutely
supporting
wonderful.
you?
Yeah. One of my old neighbors in our rental before we moved into the house that we built is on the city council, and she's like, if you ever need help with anything, if you want to join a committee, let me know. I'm happy to
That's
help
pretty good.
that way. Our Chamber of Commerce is amazing. They are so kind, and I've been to a handful of ribbon cuttings, and they always welcome me with open arms, and I take pictures and meet everybody. Our Parks and Recreation Department does a fantastic job of bringing people together. And whenever I see them, we give each other hugs and talk and chat. So a very wonderful city leadership, and they welcome people and they greet people, and they're very welcoming too.
Have you ever talked to somebody that has got a very interesting story and touch your heart, like various, between all these people that you talked to so far?
Oh, there's so many good ones. I was thinking about that when I was driving here. I was like, I don't have a favorite because everyone's stories are cool, but
Like the one.
Oh, there's so many good ones. So we have one gentleman that moved here from California, and so he opened a business that he rents out exotic car rentals. So he has the fun, like the Corvettes and the cool chopper bikes and all sorts of things, and you can rent and drive them around for a few hours.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And talking to him, he said, I wake up every day with a smile on my face that I'm in Texas and not in California anymore. And I don't, because I think he was born and raised there. I believe his wife was too. Their kids, so they never intended to leave California. But then that first grandbaby came along, and they were like, with all the crime and things, like maybe this isn't the safest place for like our granddaughter to grow up. So the whole family, like they all came to Texas.
Wow.
And I love that of anywhere you could go in Texas, they came to Liberty Hill. And that he says, I wake up every day with a smile on my face because I'm in Texas. I'm here. And there's so many people in Liberty Hill that are transplanted from Texas or other states. And for the vast majority of them, they're all happy to be where we are, be it for the small town or the community or the schools or the neighborhood or just the freedom or the land. And they just are happy to be where we are. One of your helpers, Alex, has a really fun story with his family and how they came from Venezuela and how they wanted to be in Texas because he said Texas was the real America. And hearing that story from them and the challenges that they went through to be where they are, it makes you love Liberty Hill and Texas and America even more. We just have some fantastic people in our tiny little community.
Yeah, we are all one nation under God. It's just, it doesn't matter where you're from, what country. I'm an immigrant myself, like Alex, or many other people, you know. It doesn't matter the color of your skin, the language you speak. We're all the same.
Yeah. And when you know people, there's a quote from a very wise lady named Marjorie Hinckley, and she said, if you know somebody's story, you can't help but love them. It might not be the exact quote, but it's similar to that. But that idea, like if you know somebody, you can't help but love them. And so much of the turmoil and the conflict that we see out in the world, it's like if you could just put people together, regardless of where they're on the political spectrum or what they think about this policy, that policy, just if they know each other and they can be friends and they can realize they probably have way more in common than they have different, a lot of that tension, that conflict would probably would go away or be much more manageable because you would love the people first. And that's the nice thing about having that small town community is because we're so small, you can't really form feuds. You can't really be mad at people because the town is too small to like find somebody else to help you because we need each other. And so if we know each other and we can try our best to love each other and support each other, it just makes life easier.
But do you think that's going to change when the community is growing?
It will, but I'm hoping that my small portion of what I do can keep us close.
But
I know this.
For example, why Austin is not like that? And I'm totally agree with you.
Yeah.
Small community, more powerful.
Yeah.
I believe that 100%. Yeah. As the community and the society gets bigger, everything gets weird.
Yeah.
And and I don't know why, as you know, us as a people do not understand the value of the community, that what we can do for each other. Yeah. Because we all as human, we are powerful beyond our imagination. We all have different unique sets of abilities and intelligence. Imagine you put all of that in one community.
Yeah.
It's going to be powerful. But I don't know, what do you think that we are as a people, we don't see that. Most of us, be honest with you. I'm out there.
We have our little bubble, and that's where we
have our little
exist.
bubble. And then, say, I'm going to stay in my bubble. I know I'm in a community. I'm not going to contribute anything to the community. Yes, you can.
Yeah. And there's so much joy in that. That was one of the biggest lessons I learned coming out of COVID was not only do I love people and be around people, but service brings me joy. I don't know if it's like that for everybody, but for me, it's true. If I can help other people, there's a great sense of joy that comes into my heart. And I'm sure some of that comes from my Christian background too. We want to be like the Savior, and He served other people. But there was, at one point during the lockdowns that I was like, John, I need people, but I need to do something for people. And I know these people won't come out of the doors, but if I can do something to serve them, I'll feel better. And so I went to the store and I bought a bunch of those little bags of powdered donuts. And I came home and I printed off a cute little sign that says, donut, I'm thinking about you, or something, some cute little phrase. And I threw all the kids in the car, and I was in grubby clothes. I'd been painting walls. That was my COVID project. I was painting my house. So I had paint in my hair and paint on my clothes. But I was like, we are doing service. And so I put all the kids in the car, and we just went and we dropped off those little bags of donuts at people's houses that we went to church to, that just a way to check up on them, let them know that somebody was thinking about them. So we dropped off 4 or 5 of those, and we're on our way home. And I turned to my husband. I was like, Johnny, I was like, that burden is off my shoulders. It's like, I feel like me again. I feel happy. I just feel so much better. And so I learned in that moment that service brings joy because it gets you out of your selfish worldview bubble. And if you think about other people, then you're not nurturing whatever negative feelings you're going through. You're not dwelling on your insecurity or your fears or your whatever bad thoughts you have, because you have to think about somebody else. And when you don't feed those thoughts and you feed the positive thoughts, they grow and they get bigger. And so we started a tradition in my family. We call it September service. So every September, we kind of make a list, and each day of September, we try to do some kind of active family service, whether that's volunteering somewhere or cleaning up a park or writing letters or making cookies for the police officers or whatever we can do, just something that serves other people. And I love that that's been a tradition now. And I see that in our little small town, we have some amazing charities that take care of people, that do things at Dell Children's. And the more you, I guess the whole point of the story, the more you put yourself out there and you know what's happening in the community, you get out of your little bubble, you see so many ways that you can help other people, and that can bring you joy. So whether that's volunteering with the city department or helping a charity, you get out of your bubble and you see that there's so much more that you can do out in the world.
And that's actually is a great, I think, is a healing process to be honest with you. As a counselor, you know it, that one of the things that I do, I always help people, as you say, something good every day.
Yeah.
Maybe a phone call, maybe you pick up a phone and call somebody, say, hey, dear, my dear friend, I love you, I'm thinking about you. All these little things counts, and that's a great healing process because that makes you be more grateful.
Yeah.
More grateful for what you have and what you can do with what you have.
Yeah.
That's what we don't understand, that we're all capable of
doing
great things or something good in this world. It doesn't matter if you have money, you don't have money. It's not all about money. Just give somebody a hug.
Yeah, it's where your heart is. And I've tried to pull that into Howdy Liberty Hill a little bit. I'll put out community service challenges. And I thought it was really clever. It's like commune, and then unity is like in bold letters.
I love that.
The idea of like community. But there'll just be little service challenges like, hey, write a letter to somebody at your child's school and tell them thank you. Or mow the neighbor's lawn while you're mowing your lawn. Just pop over and do their section too. Or send a text or send an email. And just to get people to like, here's some little thing you do that's probably free that would help somebody else feel loved, and that would bring that community together. So I try to tie that into Howdy Liberty Hill.
I know. I wish we had more people like you, thinking like you, and the most important thing, act like you. Because we all say things, but we not act on it.
Yeah.
And then we do that, trust me, we will have a better world.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter the size of the community, if we all do our part and help one another, everything's going to be okay.
Yeah.
Everything's going to be okay. That's what I don't do politics. Like, I don't understand it. It's all about one thing. Make this country great. Make all of us good. Yeah. Makes all under one roof, under one nation, under one God. And we don't think like that. I think it's because it comes from the human selfishness, all that stuff. But as you know, you got good people in this world, you got bad people. Yeah. I decided to be the good one and just help as much as I can with what I have. I'm sure you were on that. But, what you do is so amazing, Nicki. And I know you're going to change a lot of lives. And you already did, but you don't know it. Because people, sometimes they're not going to tell you.
Yeah.
That kind of, word of wisdom, that's just a word of love, or those hugs that you gave, or anything else. No, that's maybe that person was waiting for that hug that day. Yeah. You don't know. Maybe that person was waiting for that, donuts, and you said, "Oh my God, look at let me read the note," and you made their day.
Yeah.
You shined their day, and that's amazing. But You are in it. I know that. I can read it in your eyes that you're not going to give up.
Oh, no, like we're in Liberty Hill.
You're not going to give up.
Till we die. Like we have no plans to ever move. And it's funny, I told you I grew up in Amarillo.
Yep, so Amarillo, Texas.
I very much consider myself a city girl. Amarillo's, it's not huge. It's only like 200,000 people, but
A lot of country background.
No, the little towns outside
Really?
Amarillo, those were the country, and you
Yeah.
just didn't go there because they're the ones that the tornadoes would wipe out. So you
Yeah.
stayed in the big city where you're safe, and the tornadoes didn't come into the big city. But never had any plans to live in the country or live out in a small town. My husband grew up south of Austin, but just on the way to Dripping Springs. So he grew up in a 3-acre property out there. So he kind of had both. He was really close to Austin, but kind of grew up out.
How did you meet him?
When I was in grad school, we met at church. Yeah. So he always wanted space and a big yard
Really?
and land, and he sold me on the idea. And so we bought our 10 acres in Liberty Hill. And
That's big.
oh yeah, it's awesome. I love that. Oh,
Do you
I
got
love
chicken?
it. We're gonna build a chicken coop.
Oh my God.
yes,
Oh
yes.
my
That's
God.
on the. We've got plans.
Goats,
right now.
chickens.
Yes, my kids. So my old. I only have one son. They have 4 girls. My oldest is our only boy, and he has read almost every single chicken book that our library has. He is so excited to have chickens. We were driving in the car the other day, and he was like, "Okay, we're going to talk about chicken breeds." He's like, "Mom, tell me your ideal chicken, and I'll tell you which breed you need to order from the hatchery." And so all of us just told him what kind of chicken we'd like to have. And he's like,
You're going to have a rooster too? In the
"Not at
morning?
first." He
Oh
wants
my-
roosters. I'm like, let's see if we can keep the hens alive.
Every
Like,
morning.
we've never had chickens. Let's just try this. But he is so excited, and the kids are too. So we just moved. We built a house, and so we just moved in like the beginning of May. And so the house is put together. My husband's putting the garage together. And when that's done and organized, then we're going to build the chicken coop. And then we'll get chickens, and they're pumped. But
You're busy.
like I said, we never thought that. I never wanted to live in the city or in the country. But Liberty Hill, it just grows on you. Like you move in, and everybody has the LH shirts and the LH bumper stickers, and their cell phones have the little pop thing with an LH. I've never been in a place with so much small town pride as Liberty Hill. And it soaks you in, and you're drinking the Kool-Aid, and it's an awesome
It's
place
a great feeling.
to be. And the kids love it because they're right now, they're building a second high school, and it'll change things slightly. But right now, everyone's a Panther all the way through. From elementary school, middle school, high school, everyone's Panthers. Everyone's colors are the same. The little kids run the football fields with the big kids. The football players come through the stands before they go onto the field and high five all the kids.
Oh,
It is just this like amazing place to be. And so, yeah, we don't have any plans
is that
of
the great
ever leaving.
feeling?
It is.
It's a great
It
feeling.
is so nice to just walk around town and know people that there's lots of good families with big kids. It used to be weird having 5 kids. Every other place we live, they're like 5 kids. No one has 5 kids. Are they both? They're all yours? Like okay. It was weird. In Liberty Hill, there's a lot of other families with 4 or 5 or 6 or 7. We have friends at church that have 10 kids. And
Wow.
big family, it's just big families. And so it's also nice to be in a place where people are just like, cool, you have a big family. So do we. So
Yeah, you're going to
we love it.
enjoy when they grow up, and they grow up so fast.
Yeah.
They
How
will grow
old
up.
are your kids?
You know, I have 22, 20, and 16. 2 boys, 1 girl.
Yeah.
But, they grow up so
They grow
fast.
fast.
They grow up so
Yeah.
fast. But, 5, 3, 5, then you have a lot of visitors.
Yes.
Mom, yeah, you're going to have a lot of
Yes.
grandkids.
Have to keep all the snacks in the pantry for all the friends that come over.
Yeah, and all the grandkids. But, it's a great feeling. All this happiness and the joy that you bring not only to your family and to the community, that's so rewarding.
Yeah.
That's
love
really
it.
it's so relaxing. It's hard to do, but at the end, the rewards is high, and then the God will give it back to you. Everybody's saying that I'm just a giver. Give it. I said no, just keep giving,
Yeah.
and God will taking care of you. Have faith.
Yeah.
That's the most important thing.
Yeah.
Don't just give with no expectation. That's my thing.
Yeah.
Give with no expectation, and the God will make everything happen for you. And I know you came all the way down from Liberty Hill. And I know it's not actually, right now it's a straight shot, right?
Yeah, the 183
With the
will bring
highway
you-
double
yeah.
thing, you go straight to Austin like in 15 minutes.
Yeah, and they're going to
Not
expand
bad.
the 183 over the 29 too, so it'll be a toll, unfortunately, because the government's got to have a toll. But it'll be even faster because you won't have all those stoplights. So Liberty Hill is perfectly situated where it's still really small, but you're not that far from society. So for me, it's perfect. I'm close enough that I can come in if I want to go, if I need to go to a bigger store, or if we want to go to a play or a musical or something. We're not that far, but we're far enough away that we don't have the big city problems.
Okay.
So.
That's pretty good. But I am going to monitor your growth and your community and everything else, and be in touch with you, be involved, and anything we can do to help, just let us know. But once again, thank you for coming all the way down here and have this chat.
Thank you,
I learned so much. And I'm a big fan of people that they're all trying to give with no expectation and make this world actually a better world.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, we're all going to go.
Yeah.
And legacy is today.
Yeah, exactly. And what we can do today to help other people feel happy or feel noticed or just feel seen. If you have you're a plumber or an electrician or a home baker on the side and somebody's like, hey, I want to know your story. Like, you do this cool thing. I think people they want to feel like they matter to the world.
Absolutely.
And so I've joked with some of the restaurants, it's like, I want to come back and interview your dishwasher. I want to come back and interview, the
I used to be a
little guy.
dishwasher.
Yeah, everyone, like whatever you do for society.
Yeah.
There's another quote. It says, I think it's an old British quote, maybe, but it says, whatever thou art, do well thy part. Because we need everybody.
Great.
Whether you're the high-ranking CEO or you're the person sweeping the streets, we need all of us. So whatever you are, do well your part, and everyone's worthy of being noticed.
Because at the end of the day, folks, we are all human.
Yes. We all have hearts and breathe the same.
Thank you. Thank you for being here.
Absolutely,
Thank you.
Romy.